I was recently lucky enough to be able to go to London for the first time in my life. I've only ever been outside of the country one time, a long time ago, and that was the Philippines. So this was the first European country I was ever able to go to. And if you've never been to the UK or London, I suggest you go at least once. It's a very beautiful place. It has a lot of history you can see literally on the walls and on the street. It's insane. And just like every country, everyone's used to their own stuff, but once you go to someone else's country, it's actually really cool to see some of the differences and like how it's completely different than from where you're from. So in today's video, I was going to go over some of the differences that I saw in London compared to where I'm from, California, from the United States. And I can easily tell you now, there are some things that I believe are better there, and there are some things that I believe that are way better here. Of course, this is all just my opinion. None of these are facts. These are just some things that I saw. So please don't kill me in the comment section. Also, if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. It does help the channel a lot. And if you do end up liking this video and helps you some way, please give it that thumbs up. Without further ado, let's get into it. There's one thing that's easy to get out of the way. The plugs are going to be way different than the ones from the United States. I ended up ordering this one from Amazon, right? Not thinking this is not even the right one for the UK. This is for everywhere else except the UK. This two little prong system is not for the UK. So I learned that real quick and I had to go find something else. So I ended up getting this one actually. I don't know if you guys can see this. This one actually comes with like everything. The one that I just showed you with the two little prong system. Then this is the UK right here. Just in case you didn't know. It's like a 3-prong system right there. Yeah. This is the UK. And then this is the US, which we all know this from the US. Who are my viewers. Obviously, every country has their own different plugs. Just make sure you check that out before you go. But besides the plugs that I saw in the UK that I thought was different than the US is every single plug in your house in the UK have like these little switches that you can turn on and off. So that plug either is on or off. I know that sounds like something super small, but it's completely different than the US. All of our plugs don't have switches. They're on always. The only way to turn those plugs off is to turn off the breaker. In the UK, you can literally, I've seen every single plug has a little on-off switch. I think is way better than us because I feel like you can save electricity doing that, to be honest. And keeping on the topic of plugs, I don't know why I'm so obsessed with plugs right now. I don't know what it is. I don't think my Americans will like this, but there are no plugs in the bathrooms in the UK. Or at least my apartment didn't have it. The place I was staying, my Airbnb, there's not one plug in the restroom, bathroom, or the toilets, whatever you want to call it, which is a whole nother thing. So if you're trying to hair dry your hair or use some type of electrical plug-in for anything you use in the restrooms, they don't have them in the UK. I don't know why, but in the US we have those, so that's different, obviously. Sticking with the restroom, I'm not sure if they call it something other than restroom, because when I was out in some of the stores, they called them the toilets, which is, I mean, not anything crazy, but I mean, in the US, we call it restroom or bathroom. I've never heard anyone call it the toilets, but I saw signs in the UK calling it the toilets, which, I mean, that's not a huge difference. It's just a difference. I was like, oh, that's cool, which makes way more sense because I'm going to the bathroom to use the toilets, so you might as well just call it the toilets. I'm not gonna rest in the restroom. Or maybe I do, but while I'm doing my business, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know. All right, so last thing about the bathrooms. I mean, I'm finally going to get off bathrooms. I don't know why oh, okay, well, never mind. There's two things there. I'm just going to go ahead and get all the bathroom stuff out of the way. When they flush their toilets, they use a buttload of water when you flush. Like, I'm not even joking. I flushed that bad boy, and it was a good, like, 10 to 15 seconds of just water being just thrown at that toilet. And I recently saw in one of my comments why that is. Here in California, we are always in a drought. We have no water to share. We need to have every single drop saved for every single thing we do. Versus the UK and London, it rains all the time. So they have an abundance of water. So water ain't no problem over there. So that makes perfect sense why they waste a lot more water in my mind. But in reality, they have so much, it's not wasteful. They just goes down the toilet, comes back down from the sky the same day. And then the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to toilets, and I don't know why I've been on the subject for this long. In the UK, they have this really cool, but also kind of weird, like outside toilet in the middle of like everything. I don't know how else to explain this. Just imagine a urinal just right there in the middle of the street so you don't pee on the corner because you can't hold it in. I don't know if women can use this. I only saw men using this, but I actually thought that was really cool. Like to the point where I actually kind of wanted to use it just because I wanted to try the experience. It's weird. In the US, we obviously do not have this, or at least we don't in California. Maybe we do in a different state. But this is one thing where I thought it was kind of cool that the UK has this, but this also can be kind of weird. And I don't know what they're called. So if you know what they're called in the comments, please let me know. All right, so on to the next kind of subject is transportation in London. So I've been in New York and I've tried the subways, and while I love the subways in New York, I think they're so efficient, especially because California really has no subway at all. We are really lacking in transportation over here. All we have are freeways, and those are always just very trafficky, to say the least. While we call it subways here in America, I have recently learned that they don't call it the subway in London. It's called the tube, and they were so efficient and very clean compared to New York. Well, just the clean part. The efficiency was actually really well still in New York, but the clean part was very abundant in London. I didn't get in one car in London. I literally either walked or took the tube everywhere. One thing I thought that was really funny, but I thought it was really cool, and it was kind of different, is in the United States, whenever we need to get to an exit, it's called exit. I mean, it's just like a sign that says exit. In London, in the tubes, I saw only a way out. I don't know why that made me laugh, but I was like, yo, this is tight. A way out? I mean, it makes sense. Like, you name things that make sense. You got toilets for the restroom, and you got a way out for exit, which is the same thing. It's just, I don't know why. I thought it was really funny seeing a way out. I'm like, oh man. One thing that was really weird for me was obviously cars driving on the different side of the road. It's not the wrong side. I mean, it is for me, but it's the other side of the road. At one point, my friend Drew wanted to ride our bikes, and so I had to learn to be like, yo, I'm driving on the wrong side of the road in my mind, but I'm not actually. I don't know which one's more efficient, to be honest. I just know that it's just the opposite side of the road. I also was like confusing myself, thinking like, so if I'm driving on the left side of the road, should I be walking on the left side of the concrete whenever I'm like walking past someone? I don't know. I was thinking about it way too much, but to be honest, that was a big difference, obviously. One thing I really liked about London specifically was their museums were free. Now, over here in California, we actually have a good amount of museums, but none of them are free. You have to pay for almost all of them. Well, there is one that I know of, the California Science Center, but other than that one, you got to pay for every other museum. London had this gigantic, like, British museum, and it was free, and it was like, it felt like it was 5 stories high, and it was gigantic. And I was like, yo, this is free. This is crazy. So that's one thing that if you do go to London in the UK, take advantage of that. It's free. All right, so when it comes to the food of London versus the United States, or at least California, yeah, I'm sorry, guys, and please don't be mad at me, you UKians. British, sorry, what the hell am I talking about? I prefer the food in the US compared to the UK. Let me explain, though. When I was in the UK, I tried British food, which was like fish and chips, and I think my homie got like a chicken, I think. I don't even know. And then, of course, I feel like, there was a good diversity somewhat. There was a lot of Indian food there, a lot of Asian food, and I think I found like one Italian restaurant. That was about it, though. I ain't even gonna lie. I was purposely trying to do different food just because I wanted to try different food. And I'm just gonna say now, I even tried American food there, which was kind of funny just to see how it tasted. Maybe because I live in California, I don't know what it is, but we have like every single type of food from the entire world. Like, you can find it in California. Maybe not the rest of the US, but the big cities like maybe New York, San Francisco, definitely in Southern California, you have every food you can try, and it all is very flavorful. I didn't find any spicy food, which was shocking because I'm pretty sure Indians, from India eat very spicy food, but I didn't find any really spicy food. I was trying because I was like, bro, I like hot stuff. I'm Mexican over here in California, so we like spicy food. There was not much spicy in the food from what I tried, but that could have just been my experience. One thing I did love about those restaurants, though, is there was no tipping in Europe. Or that's what I hear, but there wasn't any in London. It was kind of weird. I know there's like a constant battle between whether tipping is good and tipping is bad. And I think after going to London, I'm like, no tipping makes it a lot easier than the US with their tipping. People be getting so mad in the US if you don't tip, even if like they did horrible. I worked in a restaurant, so I almost always tip. So not tipping in London was kind of weird for me. But then they don't have the debate over there. They don't have the debate where it's like, you shouldn't tip so that we can get rid of this horrible servers have to live off their tip stuff. And then there's people like, you should tip because that's like the majority of where servers are making their money. London, you don't got to tip, and servers get paid a normal wage. So, I don't know. I'm just saying. And since we're talking about money, actually, tipping, the money in the UK is completely different, obviously. It's pretty much like that for every country. We've all seen American money. Well, the majority of my viewers, I believe. I don't know. This is American money, right? Here's a 5 and here's a 1. They're made out of paper, so these can tear. You can literally just rip it and it'll rip. It's gone. So they're paper money. And then London, UK uses pounds. This is their money. Which, I mean, I think it looks cooler, but obviously because I'm used to American money at this point. But one thing that I think is really cool, if you guys like look at the money, is that it's like you can see through. See my finger through there? And it's plastic. Well, at least it feels like plastic. Like, you can't really rip this. Yeah, you can't rip it. I don't want to rip it by accident, but like, I'm not even joking. You can't rip it. It's made out of plastic. It's kind of crazy, which I think is smart because that means like, you jump in the water. It's not, your money's not gonna get ruined. Like, our money is paper. Their money is plastic. So I think that's kind of cool. I did lose my money. I don't know about losing is the right word, but like I gave him $100 bill and then I only got like $80 back. So I felt like I lost $20. But that's just the exchange rate. It changes all the time. So I don't know how that is. One thing that was also cool about the UK was they actually have a lot of theaters. Like maybe it's just because I was in London, the city, but I actually saw more like play theaters than I saw movie theaters. And every play you can imagine was in London, obviously. I think there's more movie theaters in the US, but then maybe that's because I'm from here and I've never actually even seen a play, to be honest. I'm not the guy to go to. If you've never seen a play, I suggest you try it. London was cool. First play ever was The Book of Mormon, which I heard is funny, so I went to go watch it. That's just one observation that I had, was they have a lot of plays there and you can pretty much see any play at any point. Like the plays were literally switching every day, almost felt like, when I was looking at the billboards or whatever they had there. One thing I thought that was really different from the US, if you're a smoker, which I'm not, like when you buy cigarettes or cigars, I think in the US, I actually have, let me see, this is just a display. I don't smoke this, and I do not promote smoking. Do not smoke. Smoking is bad for you. Anyways, this is a regular box of cigarettes, right, from the US. In the UK, they put nasty pictures of diseases you can get from smoking on the packaging. I can't show you because it might get demonetized on this video, but look it up. Literally, they got like people with gum disease. They got like an eyeball that's like messed up. It's like smoking causes blindness. And I think it's actually really smart, right? It's trying to promote stopping smoking. It's just funny that in the US, they don't actually have that. They have the little, this smoking causes cancer sign, but in the UK, they take it a step further and like, yo, causes cancer, and you can get this, and it's literally the packaging. I was like, whoa, this is different. This is kind of weird. It also makes sense though. I mean, maybe from my experience, Americans don't smoke as much, cigarettes specifically, versus in Europe they smoke a lot more from what I saw, but I could be wrong about this. I don't know. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, which was I think was funny for me because I am Mexican, I'm Hispanic. If you come to a US, or at least California specifically, anyone who cooks any type of food, they gonna be Mexican. That's how we is. We just cook all the food because we good cookers, even though I'm not specifically. Well, in the UK, I started to realize the Mexicans of the US are Indians in UK. So any job that I ever saw like Mexicans doing over here in the US, I saw Indians from India doing it over there in UK. It was kind of funny. I was like, oh, they're all the chefs over there in the back. There was no Mexicans in UK, just letting you guys know that right now. There was not one. I actually only met one American, like US American there, which is kind of surprising, to be honest with you. I was like surprised, expecting us to just be like everywhere, hearing just American accents everywhere. I didn't hear, well, we only heard one that entire trip I was there, which was kind of shocking. I don't know why. I just thought like more people from the US would be going to London in my mind. Like we would be there everywhere, but that was not the case. And those were just some of the big differences that I saw as a Californian from the US who have lived here my whole life when I went to London for the first time. Those are just some that I saw. There might be a lot more. There's probably more that I completely missed. If you have some more cool ones, you know, put it down below in the comments. I would love to know. I think I love seeing the differences between the US and the UK, or at least London and California specifically. I just think it's fascinating to see how different they can be, and some things that are the same, or like if they're just a little bit different but not completely different. I just think it's fascinating, and I think it's something that's really cool and really fun to see when you go to a different country at least. Anyways, if you like this video, please give it that thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It does help the channel out a lot. Don't be afraid to comment down below some of the differences you guys know that I probably did not talk about. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.